everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside. And
it's like, where's lesbian Waldo?
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy.
So he falsely attributes a motive, white supremacy, to the protest against violent Islam, then doesn't attribute a codified, ideological, religious motive to the actual terrorist. Islam. Look, let's get to this. Let me give you a roadmap here. You can check the references just in case you're wondering, is this worth my time? Islam is a problem for any Western nation. Okay? I don't think that it will ever be compatible with the United States of America, certainly not our Constitution, and certainly not the values that most Americans actually hold near and dear to their hearts in this country. And I know people say you can't have a litmus test, but we're kind of getting close to that point, because after what happened in New York, the day before yesterday, I believe it was happened this weekend, and Mamdani's response, and you see the left grooming, coaching, trying to desensitize the public, whitewashing. It's important for you to know that this is not the first time this has happened. And I don't mean international terrorism. I mean domestic, so-called westernized Muslims who are a ticking time bomb. Take someone who comes to this country and seems to be compatible with your values, and if they are a practicing Islamist who follows the Quran, just add time. And eventually, my belief is you're going to have a problem. May not be IEDs, may not be honor killings. It may manifest itself in some other way. It doesn't have to get to that. But we see a lot of those too. Let's be honest, Islam is simply incompatible with America. Okay, so this is the current story. You know about this. Two Islamists who were legally in the United States, which is why my only grievance, or I should say, my grievances aren't limited to illegal immigration. They include legal immigration as well, including H-1Bs and people who come from countries who don't share our values and advocate that their citizens overthrow our government. So two Islamists on Saturday drove from Pennsylvania to New York City and attempted to kill, attempted to kill a lot of people with IEDs, culminating in, because of this liberal protester, they're defending Islam as the bomb went over his shoulder, culminating in what should be Time's moment of the year.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Now, you'd love to be able to say, record scratch, it is at that moment that I realized I screwed up. But he won't. That guy is going to welcome his invaders. Here is another angle for people who missed it.
And we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside. And
it's like, where's lesbian Waldo?
That guy came from outside.
Yeah, people running towards the bomb. Good idea.
Yeah.
I gotta get a shot of this.
Yeah.
It'll be your last shot.
And this brings us to the conditioning, the whitewashing, the sanitizing. This matters because it's an ongoing war. Something like this happens, which, by the way, is entirely within the bounds of expectations. And then Mamdani, mayor of New York, and New York deserves what they get at this point in time, if they're okay with this. He started his press conference condemning white supremacy because Jake Lang was there, right? He was involved with the protests. Some people were there protesting Islamic encroachment, and that's why the bomb was thrown, for people having the gall to insinuate that it wasn't peaceful.
To prove they're peaceful, they threw a bomb.
Exactly. So Mamdani decided to call out the bigotry, the supremacy, but not in the way you think, in a false way, and then never mentioned the Islamic motive.
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home. Let me also be clear about something else. New York City will never tolerate violence, whether from protests or counter-protests. Many of the counter-protesters met this display of bigotry peacefully, with a vision of a city that is welcoming to all. But a few did not. Two men, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Qayyumi, traveled from Pennsylvania and attempted to bring violence to New York City. They are suspected of coming here to commit an act of terrorism.
Why? What was their motivation? If you were to listen to that, you would think that the anti-Islam protests were violent. They weren't. So he falsely attributes a motive, white supremacy, to the protest against violent Islam, then doesn't attribute a codified ideological religious motive to the actual terrorists. Do you think that's by accident?
Stephen, suspected terrorist.
Right.
He made sure it is a suspected act of terrorism.
Sorry, two teenagers.
We're not sure yet what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
It could have been just a fun prank.
Yeah, it could have been a fun prank while they shout Allahu Akbar. By the way, they have been charged by the DOJ with terrorism, as I understand it. But that is not by accident, to be clear. And you know what that leads to? It doesn't just lead to sewing circles and drum circles and hippies saying we are all the same man and Palestine flags next to LGBTQ flags, rainbow flags, the Gestapo flag, whatever you want to call it, which defies reason. It leads to us letting our guard down. So, for example, here's a clip of said terrorist lighting a fuse. Now, can you imagine a sane world in which this cop who pursues him does not simply blow him away as he tries to run into a crowd of people? Because that's the world we're living in now in New York City. Lights it, jumps it, then he gets chased. Now, obviously, hey, hats off to the police officers for being brave. He lit something. He's somewhere right now that is not as, he's running toward a crowd of people. Bang, 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 bang. Ask questions later.
Did anybody even draw their weapons?
Not that I saw.
See in that video.
I think it's hard because nowadays they have to like take precaution. People they're throwing fireworks, they're throwing M80s or little firecrackers and stuff at protests all the time.
Yeah,
and they're seeing it all the time. So that's I would assume that's what he. Sure, but I don't think that they can.
Yeah, no, exactly
is the problem.
Right.
I think that they're. Right. I don't think it's an issue of the officer's decision. I think it might be more of an issue of.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna lose my job, my pension, and everything if I shoot this kid.
Now imagine if they were social workers. That's Mamdani's America, the Islamic view of America. And just to be clear, the Islamic view of America, it only serves the purpose of the United States being subservient to Islam. That's what they are called to do to non-Muslim nations. Now, not all Muslims do it. Sometimes they get here and they go, oh, Wrangler jeans, that's kind of nice. But that's what they're called to do. Let me give you some info.
Try some Levi's, bro.
Yeah. Lois. You're just naming
good jeans.
You're just naming 80s jeans brands. Ibrahim Qayyumi and Amir Balat attempted to kill the peaceful protesters outside of Gracie Mansion. They admitted to being inspired by ISIS. They both recently traveled to Turkey and other terror training hotspots. Both have parents who were recently naturalized from Turkey or Afghanistan. And both lived in nice suburban areas of Pennsylvania. One lived in a $2.25 million, 5,800 square foot home. The point is, if the nice things here in the United States, if they came here and they saw how great it was, if that worked, these people would be the poster child. Take those who are westernized, domesticated, whatever term you want to use, and if they are reading their Quran, and if at some point, God forbid, they become willing to follow it, its prescription, you're going to end up with something like this, or maybe milder. Maybe just beating the hell out of their women. Maybe opening up courts outside of our American legal system. Also, let's go to CNN. Describe the teenagers.
This is the worst.
In a way, this is probably the worst example of media malpractice. They wrote, 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. What is this? This seems like it's a style guide. Good thing they had their walking shoes. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti-Muslim protest outside of Mayor Zohran Mamdani's home. Here's what we know so far. Well, it's tough to know because they just deleted the post. That happened this morning.
Listen to this.
Their lives would be changed forever. Do you mean they threw a bomb at Americans and they were lucky to not be shot? I would call that a tragedy that they weren't shot. Is that what their lives would be changed forever? Yeah. If you ever wondered, if you had any doubt as to the fact that the left, they use accountability. They don't view accountability as a value, to be clear. We do as conservatives. They view it as a political tool. They apply it selectively, and they use it as an ideological bomb. They don't want these people to be held accountable. Yeah. They want a person protesting Islam to be held accountable.
Yes, radical Islamists try throwing bomb in New York City would have been a very appropriate headline.
Yeah,
you're not trying to like strike fear into people's hearts. You're describing the situation, because if it had been a white kid that had gone in to shoot up a black neighborhood, you would have said white person trying to shoot up black people.
Right.
It's a much better descriptor of what's actually happening. Just say it, because it's on. It's the irony is just so beyond parody at this point.
I love that description, though. Can we do that with other events? Like what should have been a nice, calm Oklahoma day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Changed one man's life forever after he entered a building and planted a bunch of explosives.
Right.
Well, he just drove a van next to it. Sorry.
Only then Mr. Dahmer ate a meal after which he'd never be the same.
Never satisfied.
Causing great gastrointestinal discomfort. You don't hate the media in the United States enough, and thank God they're becoming less relevant. By the way, a bunch of politicians and other media outlets reported the incident as rooted in racism. Here's the thing. They're so inflexible. They are going to go extinct because it's not the strongest animal. It's not the strongest creature that survives. It's the one who can adapt most effectively, and they're not able to. They're still using the same old tired talking points.
What does overpaying on your taxes feel like?
No. What the hell is this? No. What the hell does this even do? No. No, please, no. Please, God, please flush. Not here, not now. Please, God, please flush, please flush. No. Oh. Yes! Christ is averted. Thank God.
About like that. Don't let the IRS bust your balls. Visit tnusa.com/Crowder or call 958-1000 for immediate relief and expert guidance. Ooh.
Let me give you some other examples, because some of you may be new to this party, and I've been following this for a long time. It's one of the primary reasons that I chose to speak out on politics. Right? I was banned from colleges as a stand-up comic for having jokes about Muhammad. That was my first experience with any cancel culture, probably going back to 2005, maybe 2006, for decades. Let's not use the big terrorist attacks, the big bombings. Let's just use examples of people who seemingly were westernized, who seemingly were compatible with our way of life, who at some point broke bad and became terrorists. Here's the first one, the Mississauga honor killing, for those of you who don't remember.
The pictures show Aqsa Pervez mugging for the camera, wearing the latest fashions, hanging out with friends, typical teenager stuff. Typical, yet it so enraged her father Mohammed Pervez that he and her brother Waqsa Pervez strangled her to death. Today they were formally sentenced to life in prison. The murder was seen as an honor killing, a Pakistani immigrant's shame over his daughter's rejection of both traditional Muslim values and his control over her life.
Even there, it was seen as, no, it is.
Yes.
He was viewed as a serial killer. He killed 12 people in in a sequence, in a serialized order. I guess like he's a serial killer. Well, tomato, tomato.
Some people called it an honor killing. That person being the one who did it.
Yeah, exactly.
After getting raped repeatedly in prison.
Some people call it an honor killing, he exclaimed. Now, let's go. London honor killing. By the way, all references available. Check the link in the description. This was 2003. An Iraqi, his name was Mushtaq Ahmad, killed an Albanian man who he thought his daughter wanted to marry. Oh, so he was good. Okay. He was happy here. He liked our running water. He liked our electricity. He liked toilet paper. That was foreign to him. All that was great. Raisin Bran Crunch. You know, pretty good. But, she wants to marry an Albanian. Nope. Islam got to Islam. The Texas honor killings in 2008. This was Egyptian-born Yasser Said, killed 2 daughters after one of them dated a non-Muslim.
Jeez.
Think about that. This is a big one, too. This one was in Buffalo, and this one always sticks out to me. Muzamil Mo Hassan. This guy ran Bridges TV, which was a station, affiliate, whatever you want to call it. It was created to counter anti-Muslim stereotypes in the West. So he was basically an ambassador, a spokesperson. Hey, guys, come on, we're just like you. Well, then he stabbed his wife 40 times and beheaded her after he was served divorce papers.
Well, almost
Police
like
in Orchard Park near Buffalo say the crime was the worst they have ever seen. They found the decapitated body of Asiya Hassan at Bridges TV, the station she and her husband, Muzamil Hassan, founded 5 years ago. He's been charged with murder and is being held without bond. Muzamil Hassan came to the United States from Pakistan 25 years ago and became a successful banker. Asiya was also a professional from Pakistan. The couple had 2 young children.
Jeez.
The example. The propagandists themselves were just like you. Kingston, Ontario is another one. This man, Muhammad Shafia, he killed, I'm trying to think, his wife, I believe it was his second wife, and his son. Actually, I believe that we have a clip.
That they do believe that in a premeditated fashion that this father, mother, and brother, cold-heartedly, chillingly, laid out a plan to murder these 3 teenage girls. And remember, one of them was just 13 years old, and murder the woman who they felt was perhaps persuading them behind the scenes, advocating for their freedom within the household. And they also thought that she would be a problem, so that's why they murdered her.
Yeah. And by the way, the justification for the murders of the daughters, they were described as too westernized.
Thanks, feminism.
Think about that for a second. They were too westernized. Are you noticing a trend? Oh, she wanted to date an Albanian. Oh, she wanted to date someone who her dad didn't want her to. Which, by the way, is bad advice. I understand your parents are probably going to look out for you. You probably want to date someone who shares your same values. The murder is where I have a problem, though, and we kind of should in the rest of the Western world. Yes, Noodles?
I was going to say, so his biggest issue was they were too much like the place that he moved his family to?
Yes, exactly. No, they want to move. They want to come here and take advantage of our services. This is the difference between a pre-welfare and a post-welfare state. You can look at the stats. As far as native-born Americans, those who receive government benefits, whether it's welfare, whether it's housing, whether it's cash, whether it's EBT, even legal immigrants receive it at a much, much higher rate, and then illegal aliens. If you are born here in the United States, you are far less likely to receive these benefits. They want the benefits, but they don't want their daughters to be able to, go out without a head covering, in which case Islam is going to Islam. Remember the attempted honor killing in Washington? This was from 2024.
Body camera video shows the chaos after prosecutors say Ihsan Ali tried to strangle his 17-year-old daughter in a possible honor killing outside Timberline High School last October. Prosecutors allege Ali threatened his daughter with a so-called honor killing for refusing to travel to Iraq for an arranged marriage to an older man.
You're going to jail. Yeah. Should have been shot.
Feminists, where are you?
They defended him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most likely.
And this isn't just going on in the United States. Check out the references. And if you want more, we stream every weekday, 11 a.m. Eastern. You have these honor killings going on in Australia, in Italy, in France, Netherlands, Germany. And here's the thing. For those on the left, feminists, they will condemn Western patriarchy, right? They will condemn that as, well, Christianity is oppressive of women. And to be clear, what they view as oppression, I do support. What I mean by that is the Christian worldview that men and women are different and that we have different roles in society and in the household. You may not like that, but that has been the view, by the way, to varying degrees, of pretty much all successful societies since the beginning of time. The difference between Christianity and Islam is we don't kill women over, let's say, their preference. For example, there's nothing in the Bible that would say, hey, if your daughter wants to marry an Albanian man who's, let's say a Christian but of a different race, that you get to kill her. Let's point to the examples here. Let's look at the examples that leftists will point to, feminists, in listing their primary grievances with Christianity. Contrast that with the Quran, of which they want us to be accepting. Ephesians 5:22-24. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself its Savior. Now as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit everything to their husbands. The most severe examples would be that women are not supposed to speak in church. They are supposed to consult with men. They are supposed to go through a system of authority just because they don't want chaos, right? We don't serve a God of chaos. You may not like it, but that is the Christian worldview. Let's compare that. That's impermissible to the left. Let's compare that with the Quran. This is from Surah An-Nisa. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them lightly. But if they obey you, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. And they regularly, by the way, depending on if you go through hadith, depending where you, it's like, if your if goes to, you just kill her.
Well, you take it as kind of a whole, like you look at women as purely property. Right. So there was two examples that we gave here. The station owner stabbed his wife 40 times and beheaded her because she filed for divorce. The other one killed his ex-wife and daughters
with his new wife
because they were being too westernized. You could see the juxtaposition there of how they view this. Men, do whatever the hell you want. Women, you can't do anything that you want. And if you try to, 40 stabbings and head be gone. Right. That's the kind of mentality. And honor killings are not, exclusive to Islamic culture, but they are adopted widely by Islamic culture.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me, that'd be like Christians saying, honor killings are totally cool. Goes completely against the scripture, though. Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah. No, the Christian worldview is you read it, it's very clearly about protecting women from the world, protecting women from the evils of the world. And that comes with authority. That comes with hierarchy. We can have this conversation, and I will. It is not the same as Islam, which it's just evil. I've known this to be true for a very long time, and I know that some of you are coming along the trail a little bit later. It is evil. It is an evil worldview. Doesn't mean all Muslims, but when I open up the Quran, and that Quran challenge I issued, I think in 2008 still stands. Open it up, read 5-10 pages in any direction. Tell me that is anything other than irreconcilable with, you may be a conservative, you may be a MAGA person, American person, or you could be a feminist. If you're anything other than Islamic, it is incompatible. Period. And when people say, well, you can't have litmus tests and you can't actually screen for this as it deals with immigration. Well, what if it's a national security threat? Do we have the right to control the inflow as it relates to that? Let's look at, for example, founding father Sam Adams on specifically, now you won't find specific quotes on don't let Islamic immigrants because they were busy fighting Islamic pirates. That's where the term leatherneck, I don't even think they would ever compute that, wait a second, you're bringing them over, so they are taking over entire cities, sir? Are you out of your tree, sir?
You're bringing them here and they're not enslaved?
Well, yes, exactly. Well, come on,
so
they understand.
strange.
They enslave all their own people. Just speak their language. Enslave them. Here he is, though, specifically on not tolerating any religions that defy allegiance to our nation. This was written. The only sects which Locke thinks ought to be, and which by all wise laws are excluded from such toleration, are those who teach doctrines subversive of the civil government under which they live. And they even went on to include Roman Catholics or Papists are excluded by reason of such doctrines as these. Now, those specifically were in people in positions of authority. This is not, if you're Catholic, I know there are plenty of great American, I understand it. Yes. I am not Catholic. But the point is, they had a concern because they viewed the Vatican, they viewed an allegiance to Rome as being a problem. That point in time, we didn't have mass Islamic migration. Hey, how about a sworn allegiance not only to a foreign caliphate or to establish a caliphate? How about a sworn allegiance to subvert specifically any nation that does not submit to your religion, including but not limited to the prescription of dhimmitude, a poll tax, curfews, different treatment, different voting rights if you are not Muslim? And they are called to do it until their last dying breath. If the founders were a little concerned about Catholics on that logistical level, well, because the Pope and what if I say A, what if I say left and the Pope says right? We need to know that these people are on board with our vision. Where do you think they would line up with Islam?
Yeah.
Whenever the left says the founding fathers would have wanted, you know they're lying to you, just like when they say the Constitution says, or they say, I'm a Christian, but. Islam is an evil ideology straight from the depths of hell, and it is not compatible with Western Christian culture. If you think it is, or you think you know someone who's on board, give it time.
Yeah. I like that example. The one, it does two things for me. It sets up the fact that Protestants built this country.
Yeah.
Not to no offense to anybody else, but this is a Protestant country. For all the faults of Protestantism out there, we did one thing right.
Yeah.
Right. And then on the other hand, it says, hey, the line is so much closer than you guys really think. You can use this example of like, oh, you're just anti-Islamic. No, how about this? I'm a Christian. It said other Christians that might have other loyalties. We got to be wary of those people.
Yeah.
Now do everybody else. You can't throw that barb at me anymore because I'm using Christians as the example. There you go.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.